Today we have a very special episode because I'll be showcasing a very exciting app called Display.land. It's an app for your phone for Android and iOS, which helps you or enables you to actually capture environments using photogrammetry. So you are able to go outdoors and capture a scene with your phone, and then it will convert that and process that on the cloud. And then you will get back OBJ or FBX file formats, or quite a few other ones actually as well. And you get all the textures for that as well. So what that helps you to do is you can actually have way more realistic renders, better integration work. So all you have to do is download the app with the description link below, and then you can follow along. So let's see how that goes. Hello everyone and welcome along to another episode. As I said, we will be showcasing an app called Display.land, and it's super exciting because I've been using it for the first time. It's very easy to use. I'll be showing you the steps how to get it to work. Get it obviously from the App Store or Android Store. The link is in the description below, as I said. And then you just go outdoors, or you can even do indoor stuff. You can capture your room, some assets or whatever, and just get out there and download this stuff and capture, do some photogrammetry. And in this video, I'll be showing you how to do that, or at least I'll be showing you how you can do that for the VFX side of things. So I'll be loading it in and capturing a pretty cool environment actually, which you will have access to as well. So you can download the scene files if you're a patron or a YouTube member. And yeah, so why don't we just jump into that and see how the whole process goes? All right, first of all, you need to find a great location. It's always good to find something with lots of detail in it. So that's what I'm using. I'm holding steady hands, capturing the scene very slowly, and you can see the tracker points being generated on the fly. After that is being done, it's on pending status, and you can edit the description and change the name, and then you just upload that to their servers. It takes a while to upload, and then there is a longer waiting time for the processing time just because of the amount of data. After that, you can add more details to it, like location, GPS data, or add a caption to it for other users to see what you have created. And the great thing is it creates you like a trailer video so other people can see what kind of scene you captured. And what also is great about this, you can also edit the files after. So what I'm doing now is I'm cropping my scene, making it smaller, so I only have the expected capture range, and I can edit that and also add some kind of keyframe so the trailer video is actually nicely animated as I want it to be. And this just helps you get more exposure on their platform. Once you're done with all these kind of things, you can just publish your file or your photogrammetry scene, which will be uploaded and then for other people to see. Once you're happy, you can just click the share button and download the file, download the mesh, choose the object or the data file you want, and then it will send you a link to your email. All right, so now that you know how to use the app and capture your scene and download the files, we'll be jumping now into Maya, and we will be importing the OBJ files which was sent to you via email. And then we apply the captured texture, and then we will go from there. So let's jump into Maya right now. All right, as you can see, we have the file import menu open, and I'll just be selecting the OBJ file, which I just got from that download link, and I'll just import that very easily like that. And as you can see already, just by looking at this, it has the textures assigned and everything is already plug and play pretty much. You can see it's a very cool set now. You can see there's so much detail everywhere. One thing I noticed though, it's super bright. And the reason is because it has its shader assigned, and it just assigns the default shader, which is I think a blend. So in the hypershade, you can see this is the network, which has been imported. And what I like to do always is just use a flat shader, because photogrammetry stuff, like if you capture textures, it has the file information or the lighting information baked in, which means that you don't want to apply a regular diffuse shader because it will be very dark and you will not get the same light contribution to this. So this is the file, and I just want to hook it up to my AI flat shader. select the mesh and assign the flat shader. And what you need to make sure is, because I'm using the ACES workflow, and you can look at previous tutorials how to set it up and whatnot. So I'm just switching my file input to a utility texture sRGB node, which is right here. So by changing that, you can see everything got a bit darker, but this is the correct representation of the texture in ACES space. All right, so this is what it is. You can see it's nice and detailed, very cool stuff. You can even see the wires and some shattered glass flying around here, like there it is. Pretty cool. The only thing is, obviously what you need to do is check your scene scale. And I'm sure, or at least in my early tests, is that this is in centimeter space and you need to really scale it up. So if you create a cube just to quickly test the scale, and you can see this on default, this cube is 1 by 1 centimeter. So what we want to do is scale it up by a factor of 100, like that. And now my little cube is very small and the cars are correctly scaled. So what I want to do, just to check if my scale is correct, just scale the cube up, roughly place it where your vehicle would be, scale it in Z until it more or less fits your vehicle or whatever reference object you have, measure it, and then just place it and roughly check the scale. And you can see the Z scale is 330 centimeters, which means it's 3 meters long. And I think it's fair enough that it could be a real scale. The vehicles are more or less in that range. So, which is good, right? So now we have a properly scaled scene. And what you can do now is you can go crazy pretty much, right? You can connect, or you can use water sims, you can use fracture objects, you can create robots and there are spaceships flying in. You can do pretty much whatever your creativity allows you to do it. So, and that's the beauty of that. And so what I have prepared on the outline, you can see I have a few objects in here already. Let's just hide this because I placed it a bit differently. I just moved it a bit in space. It's the same kind of idea. Nothing changed on the layout side. The only thing which I had changed is to assign a different, or like just a little bit different shader to all of this. So as you can see, the shader network is a bit different. I have like this occlusion thing in here, which is multiplied with my base texture. And the reason for that is that the light information right now is baked in. And if I have an object on the surface like this, it's not actually casting shadows on it. So the light from the captured texture will emit even though a surface is blocking. And the occlusion will just, whenever there's an object on that surface, it will just pretty much cast a shadow on it. So it will not illuminate when it's in shadow. And if I unhide my little demo sphere here and enable my light information, oh no lights yet. You can see that the sphere is right there. All right, so let's just start a render and see what we get. So now you can see, using Arnold render view on the left, you can see that this is my reflective sphere. And based off the occlusion I baked into my shading network, you can see at the bottom there's like this little shadow. And if I wouldn't have that, it would just look odd and it would be like it's floating. And you can see how nice and fast and interactive this is. So if I move it, like everything is nice and fluid. And even the reflections on that sphere, they're like spot on, right? You can see the pole is being reflected and everything is amazing. Like if you would have a vehicle, for instance, the shadows and the reflections on the car would actually reflect properly of that. All right, so one thing you can see though is that there is no sky in my sphere. So what I did, which is not currently in the app, Display.land app, is I captured a very basic Google Street View panorama image, and I just mapped that on a texture and plugged that into my AI Skydome light. So if I unhide my light source, you can now see, oh, all of a sudden there's a sky. So it's not really super crazy what I did. I just went out there physically, took my phone out and created that sphere, downloaded that file. If you don't know how to do that, it's a very easy Google command, download Google spheres or whatever. I brought that in and I just aligned it to my Display.land mesh. So I have the same alignment. And then just looking at the sphere again, you can see now that the reflections here are pretty much spot on. The top part here is the sky dome, and then it's pretty much matching with the captured data. So it's a very nice seam, especially if you would have some capture data or some like refractions or something. You have a nice kind of blend from HDRI to set to the render. All right, so that is this. And I just went ahead and created a little scene, which is obviously not looking amazing, but it's just showing you the purpose of that whole thing. So I have a little vehicle in here as well. And I just placed it, and you can see it's pretty much in the same scale as the other vehicles. If I just scale my sky dome, you see the rest of the cars like this, and it's pretty much the same size. And yeah, so let's just start the render and see what this guy looks. So now we have the vehicle in place, and you can see it feels very integrated already. I did not spend much time on shading. As you can see, it's just pretty much a very basic car material, nothing crazy. And then I have a sky dome light because, a directional sun or skylight, because the HDRI, which I captured, does not have dynamic range, right? So just my phone does not have like 16 or 20 stops to capture. So you still need to create an artificial light source, which I have now enabled. And you can see in the viewport, if I bring in lights, you should see now that everything is nice and shiny. If I move the light, you can see the shadows are being rotated and everything is aligning to my set geometry. And this, for instance, you can see if I zoom on the hood of the car, you get these really great reflections of the bonnet, which reflects the environment. So these kind of things are very hard to replicate without these kind of photogrammetry or LiDAR scans. And I think this is an amazing tool for you guys to create amazing content, right? So you can use this kind of workflow to use it in your show reels, for instance. So you can just, I don't know, as I said before, create a vehicle or like a robot, or like a spaceship hovering. It's fairly easy to do, and I think just giving you the ideas to create these kind of scenarios is, I think quite a few people think that the VFX side is super challenging, and like in big productions they have so many crazy tools and on-set hardware, whatever. And honestly, if you want to make a great looking reel, you can just go out there with your phone and capture this stuff and just use that for your reel. And I'm pretty sure it will look amazing if you do at least the basic steps correct. Anyone can create amazing renders. So if you're now excited and you want to go out and try it, the download link is in the description below. So check that out, go there and download the app. You will find me actually in the app as well. You can follow my user there, and we can share data. And obviously, as I said before, this scene with the graffiti and the parking lot is available for my patrons and YouTube members. Be sure to check that out if you want to have this final setup scene, so you can just place your assets inside and have a great render. So I hope this gave you like a broader picture on how to create photogrammetry. It's very simple, very easy to use app. You just capture the stuff, upload it to their servers, they process it and send you back the download link. And again, if you like what I do, please leave me a thumbs up and leave a comment below if you have any questions about this whole workflow. I'm always reading the comments and I'm always trying to reply and help you guys out. So thanks again for watching, and I will see you in the next episode.